What is up, everyone? Gleeber here with part 1 of my Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. But before we begin, I'd just like to go over a few things first in regards to my plans for the channel, which unfortunately at the moment pretty much just consist of starting with Emerald and seeing where things go from there. But that way I can kind of figure out what I'm doing in terms of making and uploading videos, because I don't have a whole lot of video editing experience, and what I did have I mostly forgot by now. So I'll be able to figure out what I want to do and how I want to do it. And then I can also figure out what kind of content you guys want to see. So definitely post in the comments letting me know what you think of what I'm doing. And if everything goes well, I'm thinking after Emerald, I'll just go into more Pokemon games. But then in terms of other videos, I will say I'm not the greatest competitive battler in Pokemon, but I'd be willing to do some sort of battling on something like Pokemon Showdown or Pokemon Online, if it sounds like that's something that people would want to see. And then that also applies to non-Pokemon games, where if it sounds like enough people want to see it, I'll be more likely to do a video on it. And so that'll be probably things like other Nintendo games or something on Steam, because I do have that. But the thing is with other Nintendo games and Steam games is that I'm not as familiar with them. So in order for me to play those games, it would take more people to like request it, because I won't be able to buy a bunch of games without knowing they'd be worth it first. But you know, if you want to see any particular sort of video, just put it in the comments and I'll be more likely to consider it. So without further ado, I think we will get started then. So this introductory stuff is fairly the same in all the games. But of course, you know, they're going to ask us the question whether we're a boy or a girl. And I always like how, you know, they introduce Pokemon to us like as if we don't know what they are, because, you know, going into the Pokemon games, you know, I think it's pretty much assumed that in most of the games you start off as a 10-year-old. So, I mean, that's like a 10-year-old that doesn't know what animals are, basically. But anyway, we of course are a boy. I'm going to name myself Glebe. Why, yes, it is Glebe. Yes, of course, we're moving into Little Root Town. And then we're going to shrink down. World of Pokemon where dreams, adventures, and friendship. Something that I didn't read. And then, of course, we start off in the back of a moving truck, because we couldn't sit in the front seat or, you know, ride with our mom, who's actually already here, which I think is just dandy. But we do get a room, as she's about to say. Oh, and I guess for those of you that don't know what a Nuzlocke is, I'll be putting the rules in the description. But it's basically, you can only catch the first Pokemon you find on a new route, and then if any of your Pokemon faints, it faints for good. So it basically dies. And then there's kind of a rule about where you have to nickname your Pokemon, but I would be nicknaming them anyway, so I don't really consider that a rule. But yeah, so I will be getting the potion here, and then I gotta do the hardest part of this whole entire game, where you have to set the clock. This is pretty tricky stuff. Like, I don't even know if I can do it. Like, somehow I'd managed to get through that part. But of course, we're putting the Pokemon to work as our slaves, but they're done now. So apparently our dad's on TV, because, you know, he left and nobody knows where he is. So all we get is secondhand news from the TV of what our dad is doing. And then, of course, the first thing our mom says when we get our room situated is that we should go introduce ourselves to the coincidentally female neighbor, about the same age as us. And then, of course, when we enter the house, unannounced, the first thing this female character's mom will say is that we have a daughter about the same age as you. So, you know, you can tell what's on the minds of everybody in this, like, town of 3 buildings. And then we just barge into her room and she's not even here. But of course, when you click on her Pokeball, then she shows up. And like, how weird would it be, you know, you just walk in your room and there's some stranger, you know? That's what just happened. But of course, she's heard of us, and then she says that we should be friends. So, instant friend zone. There goes the hopes and dreams of our parents. And then, of course, she's just gonna go accept that we're in her room, and she'll just go sit at her computer. Oh, and I do like how the sign here says Gleeb's house rather than Gleeb's mom's house, I guess. Of course, the girl here is panicking because there's noises, and I'm actually gonna change the text speed too fast, and I think I'm gonna change the battle style to set, and I'll change the frame to that one. Okay. And here's Professor Birch getting totally harassed by a Zigzagoon, which seems pathetic, but I mean, you gotta give him some credit, because I mean, like, the real world equivalent of a Zigzagoon is like a raccoon, and I mean, those things could, if they go wild on you, that'd be not fun. But anyway, I did do a random number generator off screen of 1 through 3, and I did get 1, so we'll be starting with Trico. And then the thing about the clock, though, I mean, I said that was the hardest part of the game, but I mean, you know, I might have to take that back, because this battle is definitely up there. I mean, this first battle against this level 2 Zigzagoon, it's definitely tricky. But you know, we'll see if we can make it here. He's just using Growl, which it's lucky for me. But I mean, if he starts attacking now, like, he'll be tanking hits, and you know, I may be in trouble. But luckily, we do manage to beat the Zigzagoon somehow. And of course, you know, Mr. Birch or Professor Birch couldn't, you know, just go to his bag and get his own Pokemon. He had to have me just come there. And we're just back to lab. Because, I mean, he says that we did really well in that battle, but I mean, was there really a way to not do well in that battle? Like, honestly. And we will be nicknaming the Trico. And I did decide on a name. And I'm going to try to name it. But my DS's buttons are a little bit finicky. Like, I have to push down fairly hard. But I'm going to name this Trico Sebastian, because I just like that name. And then, of course, you know, right after that, Professor Birch is saying, you know, do you think it'd be a good idea to go see my daughter, May? So currently, the 3 adults that live in this town, within, like, the first few things of any conversation with them, you know, the first thing they're saying is, you know, you should check out my daughter. Well, I mean, our mom says, you know, check out the neighbor's daughter. Here's an intense wild battle with a Wurmple. I think there's something about, actually, that, like, the first encounter on this route has to be a Wurmple or something. Or maybe that's just in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, actually. I'm not sure. But it's going to be tricky. These first 2 battles... actually, that brings up an interesting point that I think I'll be leaving everything in the videos for right now. God lord. But I might start, like, cutting out some of the less interesting parts, like if there's a wild battle or like healing at the Pokemon Center, something like that. That's not really, you're not really missing much. I might start cutting things like that out, but I'll have to see, you know, what you guys think. Like, if you guys want to see that for whatever reason. I mean, obviously, if I'm like talking about something in particular, I'll leave it in. But and I learned Absorb. But I mean, most of the time I'll just be walking at the Pokemon Center, or like I'll be running away from wild battles. So it's like there's not really much going on to miss. Like here, I mean, I'm just going in here to heal. And there isn't a whole lot. The beginning of the games, they're fairly slow. I mean, they all start off the same. Just, I mean, well, they kind of end the same too. But I mean, there's different stories, different Pokemon. I like to think that the games are different. I know there are a lot of people that would disagree with that though. But of course, we can get the free potion from this Pokemart employee. And I think we will go battle May and then maybe end the video there. But yeah, this, I just wanted to level up Trico like once, just so I'd have a little bit more of an advantage against May. Just because the first battle against the rival like is losable if like your rival gets a crit. In this game though, I mean, you get potions beforehand, so it's less losable, but I mean still losable. And of course she's listing the Pokemon on Route 103, which is like 4 Pokemon. Same as Route 101, except also Wingull, I think. And of course she has the starter that is super effective against us, which is Trico, or Torchic in this case. And I'm pretty much just going to use Pound. And I think even if she uses Scratch just continuously, I should win because I'm outspeeding her, it would appear. So as long as she doesn't get a crit. Well, actually, no, even if she does this turn, I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, no, it would have been enough. That was 4, yeah. So we're good. And we grow to level 7. Sebastian putting in work. And like, I like how everybody in this game is like saying that we're so good for winning these first few battles when there's really only, like, I've never even used any of my other moves. Like, Pound is the only thing that I've done. Like, it didn't take a lot of skill to win these battles. But, I think I'm going to heal up, and then I think I'm going to end it there. So, this first video, it might not be the greatest quality or the greatest in any way, but, I'm planning on basically looking into what things I can do to improve the video the most. In like the next couple weeks, and so hopefully the quality will be improving. I think I'm gonna get a capture card DS soon, so that'll be good, and then probably get a new mic at some point, but I'll work on it. But hopefully, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, and I think that's about it. So thanks for watching. Let me know just whatever you want in the comments, and I think that's it. So I'll see you next time.